guys, welcome to the channel. Up today we're going to talk about my go-to 1911, my companion gun, my gun that has been with me longer than any other handgun and will be for the rest of my life. This is a Colt 1991 A1. I've had a lot of people ask for a video on this specific gun, and I've kind of hesitated to do that because this gun changes so much, whether that be grips, trigger, what holster I'm carrying in, things like that. This is kind of the gun that changes as my tastes change. So I've been hesitant because the next time you see this, it probably won't look like this. It'll look different, most likely. But I thought I'd just go ahead and tell you about the gun, the backstory, my history with it. And this will probably be a little more of a boring video than what I normally do, but you guys asked for it, so here it is. So again, as mentioned, Colt 1991 A1. Go ahead and just make sure it's clear for you safety Nazis. Empty. Not that it matters, it's not, you can get shot through the camera. But anyway, Colt 1991 A1. Hopefully that roll stamp will focus. And this is probably the cheapest production Colt 1911 that they ever made. Instead of that nice blued finish that they're known for, they went with a parkerized finish. Instead of a decent roll stamp, you get one that looks like it should say Mattel. I mean, it very much reminds me of like a toy brand logo, but it is what it is, and it's a Colt. This is a Series 80 gun. Hopefully that'll show up. And it's been with me longer than any other handgun I own. The backstory on this is when I was a kid, my dad got this used, and it was kind of just always in the background growing up. I shot it a little bit when I was growing up. If I wanted a 1911 to shoot compared to, say, like one of the Rock Islands I had bought or a Springfield I had bought or something like that, this was kind of the baseline for what I judged other 1911s with. Right or wrong, that's just kind of what this was to me, because in my eyes, the Colt was the king of 1911s, especially back when I was younger and didn't know as much about firearms as I do now, particularly 1911s. So that's kind of the backstory to this. I've done quite a bit to this gun since I've had it, mostly just shot it and gone through different holsters, but I have made some upgrades. And when my dad got this, it had actually already had some things done to it. For starters, the gun had a little bit of wear on it when he got it, and you could tell it had been shot a fair amount. Now, put a round count on it, I'd just be lying to you because I don't know, but it did look like it had been shot a fair amount. The original owner had put this hammer on it, and he put this grip safety on it, and then some smooth walnut Colt grips with a silver medallion. The gun actually looked pretty decent as it came, and that's actually the configuration that I kept this in the longest. The first 5 or 6 years I owned that, this gun basically stayed in that format. Now since then, my tastes have changed, and so the gun has changed. To start with, the 1991 A1 came with just some plastic grips, plastic trigger, plastic mainspring. Like I said, it was just the base Colt gun that you could buy for the least amount of money back then. And up until recently, honestly, they were very attainable for a good price, but not so much anymore. The thing I like about the 1991 A1 is that they do have really decent sights. Hopefully that'll come through. But you've got a fairly pronounced front sight over a GI model. Same thing with the rear sight, much better than a GI rear sight. And so it has a decent set of sights on it right out of the box. I really like that. I also like that the gun is a Series 80. Now, most Series 80 1911s have a fairly spongy trigger, and 1911 guys pick it up and they'll know right away it's a Series 80 just by checking the trigger. But on this gun, it's actually not bad. It's very close to a Series 70, and unless you've shot a lot of 1911s, you would never know it. I guess we'll go through the trigger now. This is kind of pointless for you guys, but I'll do my best to show you. So it's got a little bit of take-up and then some sponge, a little tiny amount of mush, and then break. But I mean, like I said, it is almost as good as a nice Series 70. There's a reset. Pretty decent trigger. Now, as far as some of the things I've done to this, as mentioned, the grip safety and the hammer were already changed. I put a GI World War II trigger in it just because I had one laying around, and it's parkerized and matches the gun. The other thing I like about it is that in the wintertime with gloved hands, you have a lot more room to get in here. And that's where my love for a short trigger stops, because I really don't like them. When I shoot, I usually shoot with the trigger right here in the crease of my finger. Now, a lot of people say that's wrong. I don't care. That's how I shoot, and I think I'm a decent enough shot. so I'm not going to change how I do it. But with the short trigger, I tend, if I grip this like how I grip all my other 1911s that don't have a short trigger, I'm past that quite a bit. If I go to that joint, it's at an awkward space where I have this gap, and it's just inconsistent on the trigger, so I have to go to the pad of my finger, which is how you're actually supposed to shoot. But I have the best luck with a short trigger that way. Now, that being said, I will change this out for a medium Harrison trigger just because it's the perfect length for me. I've got medium and long triggers, but they're all plastic shoes. I don't want plastic on this gun. So I'll just order that, and then that'll be finished. As far as the rest of the gun, I've got a Wilson Combat aluminum checkered insert here that's just held down by the grips themselves. I like some texture on my gun. I live in the South, it's hot, it's humid, and while it doesn't help a whole lot, it at least makes me feel better about it because I don't feel like I'm gripping a wet bar of soap. I actually feel like I've got a good grip, but it's not super aggressive either. I changed out the plastic mainspring for a metal one. This came off of like an ATI import or GT something, or a Rock Island. It was a cheaper 1911, but I robbed the mainspring off of it, put the plastic one on it, and then put that one on here. It's aggressive, it feels nice, but it's not so bad that it tears your hand up. And then for the grips themselves, they're just elk grips. With the Colt medallion, I got these at the Tulsa Gun Show actually this last year, this last spring, and I really like them. They're only 90 bucks too, and you can tell they are the real deal. I did have to finish fitting them onto the gun, but I think they look nice. They give it that Longmire style look and just add some class to it. Now the downside of these type of grips is they are a little brittle with them being antler, but you know, it's something that I'll probably switch anyway at some point. It just depends if I want to dress the gun up or not. And right now I'm in the mood to have it dressed up. Normally I use World War II surplus Bakelite grips on this, or I've got a set of wood caliber walnut Bastogne grips, which are beautiful. And I'll just bounce back between those three. I kind of rotate through them. Other than that on this gun, I have changed all the springs out. When I first got this, about 7,000 rounds ago, I changed all the springs out for Wilson Combat springs, and it's time for me to do that again. Maybe I'll take you guys along with that video. When I do that spring change, I'll probably try a Wilson Combat sear in it. I don't know if I will or not, just because the trigger's already so good, but I might give it a try. And at the same time, I'll put that Harrison trigger on there. As far as the sights go, again, I really like these, but they are getting kind of battered, and at some point I'll have to change that rear sight when it just messes with the sight picture too much, in which case I'll go with the Harrison U-notch retro rear sight, and then I'll probably machine this for a dovetailed in gold bead front sight. I like the U-notch with the gold bead. To me, that's the best sight picture, so eventually it'll get that, and when I do that, I will sand this down and I will cold blue it, because it is starting to get to where the parkerization's not doing a whole lot. Let's see, maybe if the light will cooperate. But I am getting some pretty significant holster wear on this. And that's okay, because I'm the one who put the wear on the gun. This gun's unique to me. This wear pattern, all these scratches, scuffs, and holster wear is 100% mine, and it adds to my history with this gun, and so I don't mind it. Where I start to mind it is living in the South with all this humidity. The parkerization's not doing a very good job of protecting the gun anymore. So in fact, right before I filmed this, I noticed there was some rust forming right here that I had to take off. And I've just went on vacation to Colorado and Wyoming, where I had this pretty much every day with me. No issues there. I've been home for 2 whole days now, and boom, rust is already popping up. So probably getting close to time to refinishing this. As far as carry goes with this gun, recently, within the last 6 months, I got a Milk Sparks inside the waistband holster, and I have to say, this is the best holster I've ever owned, hands down. Best quality, best fit. It is amazing. On top of that, it has a piece of steel in the front here that keeps the mouth open whenever you draw, which makes it a lot safer to reinsert the gun when it's still inside your waistband. And the craftsmanship on this is just, I can't say enough good things about this holster. It's amazing. I would say this is even better quality than Simply Rugged, and I hate to say that because I love Simply Rugged holsters, but I've never handled a holster this nice. The Simply Ruggeds are super nice, and I'm not dogging them, but this is just the best holster I've ever had. Now, that being said, I will get the Simply Rugged holster that has the steel insert for my Colt Combat Commander, just because I don't want to wait like 9 months to get a holster. So maybe we'll do a direct comparison between this and that one when it comes in. When I started carrying the gun, I carried it in this inside the waistband Kydex holster. A good friend of mine made this, and I love it. It's got this little leather piece here, so it has some play up front, but then it has this Kydex kick out that drives the butt of the gun in. I do conceal carry strong side, so you have a tendency to print when you carry that way, and this holster really helps to tuck the butt of the gun into you. So when I'm really kind of conscious about my concealment, this is the holster I go with, but anymore, honestly, this works just fine. And besides that, it's not invisible carry, it's concealed carry. I'm not that concerned about it. Most people have their nose in their phones, so they're not paying attention anyway. But if I'm going to like the city or something like that, yeah, I'll probably just toss this one on. And then for outside the waistband holster, I bought this for my trip to Wyoming and Colorado, because in the parks, if you're going to carry, generally speaking, look at what park you're going to, but if you're going to carry most of the time, it's going to be open carry is what they want, and so I went with one of these. I'm not the biggest outside the waistband guy, but I've had one of these from a company called Bulldog, which are cheap, Chinese-made holsters, but it worked fine when I was a younger guy. I got rid of that holster when I sold High Power, but I like this style because, one, pancake holsters are very comfortable, and then two, with the thumb brake, so if I get this to snap, it gets between the hammer and the firing pin, so it's an extra safety. When you go to draw the gun, you're already here anyway. That breaks, it's super natural, it's not anything out of the way, and then there you go, you've got your gun now. So this style holster is nice. This one's a DeSantis, pretty decent quality. Honestly, for the price, it was worth it. I'd prefer Simply Rugged, but I needed something quick. I didn't have time to wait on a Simply Rugged holster, so I just grabbed this from one of my distributors, and it's been a good holster. I think they're fine as far as quality goes. As mentioned, I put about 7,000 rounds through this thing, and in that time frame, I think I've had, we'll just call it a dozen malfunctions. Especially early on, I wasn't keeping track, but I've had very few malfunctions inside of that time. Every time I have had a malfunction, though, it's been with a magazine that was not Chip McCormick or Wilson Combat. Most of them have been with Colt magazines or magazines that came with Springfield Armory 1911s. One was from a Metgar, which was recent, but generally speaking, well, every time it's been one of those mags, not a Chip McCormick, not a Wilson Combat, which is super good. 7,000 rounds with probably a dozen malfunctions, and this gun was shot who knows how much before I got it. Yeah, it speaks volumes to the reliability of 1911s. That's why I don't take a lot of stock. When somebody tells me that a 1911's not reliable, pretty much going to discount everything else they say, because my experience has been they are super reliable with the right magazines and the right springs. So I love them, and I'm not one of those guys that's going to dog a 1911. As far as ammo goes, for carry, these Remington 230 grain Golden Saber feed pretty much through anything. Now, this gun doesn't really have a big problem with hollow points. If they're a very open, wide mouth hollow point, every once in a while it can have some problems with it, which is why I don't usually carry those. But out of all my 1911s, this is the least finicky with carrying ammo. But I stick with this because it'll feed in any of my 1911s. And I don't count new ammo, new carry ammo, when I'm trying it out, if it malfunctions. I don't count that towards the gun, because even other semi-autos sometimes will like one ammo and not another. But if I have an ammo like this that does run reliably and then I have a problem, yes, it gets counted against the gun. But I haven't with this ammo and this gun. So yeah, there's the backstory on it. This has been with me almost my entire life. I intend for it to be with me for the rest of my life until I decide to pass it on to my son. And when that day comes, it'll be a bittersweet moment for me, because this has always been with me. But I know it'll serve him well, just like it served me well. So if you guys have a gun like this, maybe it's not a Colt, or even a 1911, maybe it's a revolver or a .22 rifle or a shotgun or something, but it's an heirloom gun that's been your companion for your life, your whole life, or maybe you've already passed it on. Let me know what it is down in the comments, and maybe give a little backstory to it. I enjoy reading those, and I do read every single comment. Also, if you would, like, share, subscribe, comment, those type of things. It's not that it makes me any money because my channel's so small, but it just shows me that, yeah, people are watching it, they're enjoying the content, and that makes me want to make more of it. It's, again, not a monetary thing. I'm not even making money on these at this point. I haven't monetized at all. This channel's just too small. It's a hobby. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it's kind of boring in a longer format than I usually have, but some of you wanted to know. Now you do. Colt 1991A1. I recommend them. And guys, as always, thanks for watching and stay free.